Hey everybody, it is 501, week number 7. Week 7. So we have this week and next week, and we're done with EDUT 501. Home stretch is what I think they call it. Well, at least that's what I call it. So this week, the theme is looking at institution-wide change at the classroom level, which is a really cool theme. I dig that a lot. You're continuing on with your readings, Sir Ken Robinson, chapter 7 and 8, looking at the Brumbaugh text Google Translate, and then also Google Presentations. If you've not looked into Google Translate in some time, looking at the ability to actually have some real-time conversations in a variety of translation tools is pretty extraordinary. Like, a translator is always going to be better that is a human, but in place of that, there's some pretty extraordinary tools that you have. They're particularly phone-based apps that are pretty amazing to be able to allow communications in ways that you otherwise could not, right? So obvious examples like, parent-teacher conferences or visiting another country, but there's so many other ways where you can really dig in and be a little more creative with how you might be able to use some translations, trying to learn a new language and kind of checking your fluency, being able to teach students. There's a lot of possibilities, and then also just looking at also in the Brumbaugh text, looking at Google presentations. So how we can get students work from analog to digital and actually using slides for that. So Google Slides, I think, if I had to pick one tool, I mean, Docs, I think, is the most obvious one, because it's just word processing. But Google Slides can do so much. And my goodness, you could just go to like file paper size or page setup, make it 8.5 by 11, and it's kind of a Google Doc if you do a text box. You can do images. You can do like a choose your own adventure thing, like go to slide based on answer, go to websites based on what you're clicking on. You can collaboratively work on it. You can do templates that students can fill in. There's just so much beyond just an actual presentation. So as you look at those two chapters, those two sets of pages, really, try and think about kind of what might be possible, because there's so much flexibility around what you can do with those platforms. I recently actually had a podcast episode about some cheese pizza, and I remember both with cheese pizza and to a similar extent vanilla ice cream. Like growing up and through, definitely through college and most of my 20s, it was like, cheese pizza is lame, vanilla ice cream's lame, it's so boring, it's so vanilla, right? We say that as though that's a bad thing. Um, and my wife loves vanilla ice cream, and I used to tease her for it because I was like, that's so vanilla. And as it turns out, like, if you get a good vanilla ice cream, like a seriously good vanilla ice cream, it's really hard to beat it with like almost any other flavor, right? If you just have like an exceptional vanilla ice cream, because there's nothing to hide behind. Talked with one of our parents at our school who owns a few pizza places up in the Bay Area, and asked him, I was like, here's what I've learned recently about vanilla ice cream. And he's like, same with pizza. Like if I want to know what a pizza place is like, go in, get a slice of cheese. I was like, makes sense. He's like, right? Because like anyone can add 30 toppings and it's going to taste pretty good, or at least taste like there's 30 toppings on it. But man, you get a slice of cheese pizza, and you're going to taste that quality ingredient if it's there. His other twist, if you are a pizza connoisseur, is to get a slice of cheese pizza. If you're trying to learn about a pizzeria, don't eat it. Put it in the fridge and have it cold the next day. A cold slice of 1 day old pizza, according to Chuck, is the true measure of a good pizzeria. I think similar thing like with Google presentations, a lot of people are just like, eh, but really like it's that, at its purest, if you're using it in a collaborative way, in a way to communicate, in a way to like link to other stuff, it's really powerful and can be kind of a beautiful thing if you get it like just right. So don't underestimate Google Translate, Google Presentations, even Google Docs. It's good stuff. You have two discussion word prompts. So as a reminder, for each, two responses, your one initial post. So it's going to be a total of 6 altogether between now and next Sunday. Week 7, prompt 1 is sharing a trend that you think is happening in education. It'll likely be something around the pandemic, around remote learning. Totally fine if you want to look at an older Q article. There was a blog post around looking at upcoming trends. It can fit really tightly and be like Zoom, anytime learning, or it could be something broader and just being like talking about equity and racism in the classroom is where we need to be. Like you, I think there's lots of ways that that connects with this course, and it's not specific. It doesn't have to be like a tech tool, although for me, my mind goes there first. So make sure to post to that, reply to that thread twice. Discussion board 2 is a follow-up on your social media starter kit. Just share an educator that you found that really impacted how you view like innovation in our 21st century. Share that person. It would be great if you shared their Twitter link so people can click and give them a follow. Yeah, so go ahead and share that. Again, you're going to share that initial one and then 2 replies. And then finally, you have your assignment, the Protecting Human Research Participants assignment, which really connects with this entire master's degree that you're getting, right? So if we were to save everything until EDT 580, it'd be just too much. And so we've scaffolded it in a way so that you get a little bit of it in each course. And so the theme of this, like, it's going to feel a little bit out of left field. That's a baseball term. It's also a coursework term. That was so funny in my head, and I just feel like that really was not funny. And you're just going to write a 2 or 3 page paper that's APA formatted. You're going to look at the difference between conducting research that's either just a classroom project or something that requires IRB approval. If you don't know IRB, you're going to have to do a little bit of digging on that one. What you used to do required IRB approval from that committee. What you do now in this course is it's called a classroom project. So you're going to compare and contrast those two. Second thing you're going to do is looking at how you're going to complete your course requirements, ensuring that participants would be protected, right? So you're not going to do interviewing participants. There aren't going to be, however you want to think of it. I know that this might be like, you're like, what are we doing? We're doing a research paper now? Not yet, right? It's just laying kind of the groundwork. So as you have likely your students, will be the participants, how do you make sure that their information, that their identities remain within the coursework and aren't shared publicly? As you're collecting that data, the third point you're going to talk about is if the parents or the participants themselves aren't comfortable with that, how could you assist them, or how can you work in a way to exclude them from your classroom project? And then looking at just the ethical principles, how are some strategies you can use when you are doing the different data collection, right? So whether it's a survey, an interview, just a classroom observation, what are those different strategies? So take a look at the rubric. You're going to answer those 4 points. And again, you're not going to be interviewing people. You're not going to be doing a paper about research. You're going to write a 2 to 3 page paper outlining how one protects human research participants. And this is a common phrase. If you've not heard it before, you're like, what? Human research participants? It's a thing we do. So for those participants, likely your students or people at your school, what steps do you do to make sure that they're okay and that what you're doing is in an ethical way? That's what the assignment is. And that's the end of week 7. Reach out as you have questions, and happy week 7.